Hi, I'm Madison, and today I'm going to show you how to make biodiesel. Organic matter that is made up of carbons. It is, and when these carbons break down, they become fossil fuels. What are fossil fuels? They are hydrocarbons that are made up of hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen, which, when they combined, ignite and combust. So where do you find the hydrogens and carbons? In lipids, or fats. So in these fats, there are fatty acid chains, which are made up of hydrogen and carbons. Now these are called the triglycerides, where a glyceride molecule is attached to the acid chains, which are made up of carbons and hydrogens in random orders. Triglyceride molecule must decompose in order for our mixture to only have hydrogen and carbon and no oxygen, because the glyceride molecule contains oxygen, which we don't want. So how do we decompose the triglyceride? First, we have to make the oil 130 degrees. Then we add the mixture of the fatty acids, and then we add the methanol. Then the methanol will attach to the fatty acid chains, and then we add the catalyst, or the NaOH, and this will neutralize the mixture. Thus, the G, or the glyceride, will detach, and we will have only the acids. So now that we know the chemistry, let's go make some. So you will need a hair tie if your hair is long, since you are going to be in the presence of a flame and you don't want your hair to catch on fire. You will also need your oil. This is the canola oil. A scale to measure, some gloves, your NaOH, a funnel, a thermometer, your goggles, something to mix with, and your methanol. And also you will need some mason jars to hold your finished fuel. So first, to keep safe, you're going to put on a pair of goggles and then put on a pair of disposable gloves like these. These are just plain old disposable gloves. And then we're going to measure 500 milliliters of your canola oil. So I'm going to be using this mason jar because it measures in ml. So we're going to just pour in 500 milliliters. So since this is a 300 milliliter jar, we're going to pour it into the tunnel once it hits 300. Okay. And then we're going to pour this into our pan. We're going to do the same thing Now with 200, because 300 plus 200 equals 500. And we're trying to get 500 milliliters of our canola oil. So we're going to go to 200 and a little bit more. There we go. And we're going to pour this into the pan as well. So now we have 500 milliliters of our canola oil in our pan. Now I am turning the oil on because it has to be 130 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to put the thermometer in the oil and wait for it to be 130. It is 100 milliliters of the methanol. And again, extremely careful with that because it's a chemical and it could hurt you. I am first going to put a piece of paper down on the scale so that it first gets the measurement of the paper, and then we are going to add 2.75 grams of the NaOH onto the paper. And we're going to apply a little bit first just so that we get the correct measurement, and again be extremely cautious with this because this is a harmful chemical. Now I'm going to take the NaOH off the scale and apply or put it into the methanol that we already measured. And now we're going to mix it until all of the NaOH is dissolved. The oil is at 130 degrees. I just poured the 130 degree oil into this mason jar, and now I'm going to pour the mixed and dissolved NaOH and methanol into the oil that we just put into the jar. Now I'm going to cover it and shake it for 5 minutes straight, and then once I'm done shaking it, it's going to sit for a day, and then we're going to come back to it, and then it's going to settle, and it's going to be usable. I just finished shaking it, so now we're going to leave it to settle for a day, and then we're going to come back, and then a top layer will form and a bottom layer will form, and the only layer that we want to keep is the top layer because the bottom layer is the old oxygen and glycerol and other stuff that isn't relevant in our fuel.